Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning and welcome. It is a pleasure to host you at the Ljubljana Stock Exchange Awards Ceremony 2025, taking place as part of the CEE Investment Opportunities Conference here at the 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Hotel. Today we gather to recognize excellence, celebrate progress, and honor the individuals and companies shaping the future of the Slovenian capital market. Your presence reflects the importance of our community and the collective ambition driving our market forward. To officially begin today's ceremony, I would like to invite Ms. Sabina Bešter, Deputy Director of the Securities Market Agency. The agency plays a key role in promoting transparency, safeguarding market integrity, and ensuring the stability of Slovenia's financial system. We are honored to have her opening today's event.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gračan, Mr. Bombač, dear guests. As the representative of the Slovene capital market supervisor and regulator, I would like to extend my thanks for the invitation to open the traditional conference, the annual event, that brings together leading issuers in the region and international institutional investors. Through recent years, Ljubljana Stock Exchange has been proving excellent results. Last year, the SBI Top Stock Market Index, including dividends, reached a new all-time high, which contributed positively to increased trading volume and improved overall business performance on the exchange. In spite of growth and outstanding performance, our stock exchange, on the other hand, unfortunately shares the path of many other regulated markets in the EU, namely a considerable number of delistings of financial instruments, 22 in recent 5 years, as well as lack of new IPOs. Capital markets are one of the important pillars in modern economies. Competitiveness of a country reflects in the development of its capital market. Markets facilitate mobilization of private capital to new project financing. Slovene market, as we know, is less liquid and modestly known, while we see the potential to grow. There are good companies in Slovenia, some of them already listed on stock exchange, some could still become public companies. That's what we hope. The agency has been actively involved in recent initiatives to boost capital market development, including the activities whose aim is to present positive features of capital market in comparison with bank financing. We try to interact proactively with any prospective new issuer by providing necessary information, guidance, and possibility to exchange the views. The strength of capital markets matters not only in the region, but in Europe as a whole. Almost 100%, exactly 99.8% of all companies in Slovenia are small and medium size. They employ almost 70% of people and generate 65% of total revenues of all businesses. The fact is that most of them use bank loans that still represent the main source of financing in Slovenia. Not only in our country, in many EU states, businesses remain heavily reliant on bank financing, which is a structural vulnerability that limits their ability to access the investment they need to scale up. Across Europe, households hold more than 14 trillion euros in saving. In Slovenia, around 28 billion, as we know. Yet most of this remains in bank deposits, earning little or no return. We are all aware that bigger interests and wider recognition of stock exchange listings increasing of market liquidity Simplification of reporting and disclosure requirements should be ensured in order to boost capital market development while at the same time maintaining investor protection. When simple, efficient, and affordable access to market is available to companies, when financially empowered investors recognize financial instruments as a good investment and alternative to bank deposits, then our market could become a platform for growth, innovation, and resilience of the Slovene economy. We should also look at ways to connect pools of capital more effectively through pension funds, insurance investments, and long-term savings vehicles to the companies that need them the most. Legislative changes adopted recently within the Capital Markets Union initiative address those issues. The recent EU initiative of the Savings and Investment Union from last year seeks to connect Europe's deep pool of private savings and institutional capital with its enormous investment needs. And this is why member states foster retail participation, expand financial literacy, and future-proof pension systems so the citizens feel empowered to invest. So we see it's not only our problem, but it is a problem that is found across Europe. Slovenian government provided important new incentive to capital market development by adopting the national strategy with the intention to bring capital markets closer to companies and retail investors by 2030. Activities tailored for strategy implementation will increase recognition of the Slovene capital market and improve business environment for investments. The strategy is being implemented with success. Republic of Slovenia issued so-called retail bonds for natural persons, ljudske obveznice, this year and last year. More than 8,500 new trading accounts were opened in the two issues, which is considered a big success for our market. So, retail demand exists, and this is a very positive sign. Also, individual investment accounts represent important milestone in capital market development. They are going to be offered from March next year. It's expected they will encourage long-term investments of deposits into financial instruments. The accounts should provide easier, more flexible option and better opportunity for buying and selling financial instruments, along with favorable tax treatments. When mentioning activities for enhancing our capital market, we must acknowledge also the new national program of financial literacy that the Slovene government adopted this year. It will have important and positive impact for our citizens who should be given opportunities to better understand basic capital market categories, to be able to take wise and responsible decisions. This is also something that the agency has been working on for some time. Equally important, higher financial literacy and knowledge help people recognize bad practices in the market and avoid scams and frauds that are worrisome reality on the markets, not only in Slovenia, but globally. We should carefully follow the developments in digitalization that changed retail investors' perspective. It's clear they are shifting from traditional in-person interactions to online investment platforms. While the phenomenon is of rapid growth and user-friendly design of digital platforms offers clear benefits, it also introduces certain risks. So, in Slovenia, in the beginning of next year, a new special website will be launched whose aim will be addressing general public and management of small and medium companies in one central place. And for the last category, all relevant information for capital market participation will be stored in one place. The main goal of all measures mentioned and the others that are taking part also this time, as defined in the National Strategy for Capital Market Development, is to reach the emerging market status of Slovene capital market. This will have positive effect to liquidity and trading volumes on our market. Capital market development is a process in which various stakeholders must take active part. The government, supervisors in financial sector, market participants and market infrastructure, of course, associations and all other relevant entities. With our active involvement and cooperation, we are all able to reach progress. And we see that our goals are not different from the goals of our colleagues in the EU for the capital market development and boosting the competitiveness. We look forward to further discussions and new initiatives for closer cooperation of national capital markets in the region that would change a vision of better recognition for new issues and vibrant cross-border opportunities into a reality. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a successful conference.
Thank you, Ms. Bester, for your thoughtful remarks and for setting a strong foundation for today's program. Your insights highlight the importance of regulatory oversight and continued collaboration in building a resilient capital market. We now continue with an overview of the Slovenian capital market presented by Oddo BHF. Their analysis provides valuable context for understanding current market dynamics, investor sentiment, and Slovenia's position within the broader CEE region.
So let's get started. I hope you can hear me. My name is 𝗘𝗘𝗘 𝗂𝗏𝗃, being responsible for equity sales, Austria and CEE at Oddo BHF. First of all, a big thank you to the Ljubljana Stock Exchange for organizing this great event and having us here as a guest. I learned that we have to be quick, so it will not take long. I would like to give you a quick update about the region and about the equity market. Would like to start with Slovenia. So I would like to start with a macro snapshot. First of all, just to mention that Slovenia is doing really well concerning growth. No surprise, GDP growth of 2.3% is outstanding. So for 2026 is outstanding for the region. Also, inflation is coming down. Here we expect for 2026 inflation of 2%. Unemployment rate unchanged with 3.6%. And also the fundamentals concerning budget balance and public debt are good, with a budget balance of -2.9 and a public debt of 65.1% expected for next year. The same situation we have here in Croatia. I think there is an, you see here growth rates in 2025 were really very high with 3.2%. This was one of the fastest growing economies in 2026. This is coming down a bit to 2.6%. Also, inflation is coming down, which is good, from 3.7 to 3%. This is our expectation. Unemployment rates stays low at 4.9%, and also public debt and budget balance here with 65.2% and -2.7% is extremely solid and positive. As a next, I would like to give you a quick update about the equity markets. So, of course, the performance of the Slovenian capital markets is outstanding with +41%, which is not just one of the best performing indices in Central Eastern Europe, it's even in the world. Where does this come from? Of course, I think the companies did an excellent job concerning operational improvements, and you see clearly that the valuation gaps are closing here. You see the top performers, Savaret, with a performance of 68%, and followed by Luka Koper, also 68%. This is remarkable. Almost same situation in Croatia. The Crobex is up 22%. Also here, what are the challenges? It is liquidity, of course. RBI here can support as a liquidity provider and market maker, and of course, analyst coverage. As you see here in our slide, I'm not sure if you can see the slides. But at least you see. I think we have
issues on your side with the slides. We are following, but can't see anything, unfortunately.
Okay. There's an issue. So I will put it in words. Yeah? I apologize. So in average, the companies have here 1 or 2 analysts. This is also a problem in Europe and in developed Europe. And also here we're offering sponsored research services. And if you want us to promote your equity story, please reach out to us. And I will be quick here. In the moment, we are covering 3 stocks in the Slovenian market. It's NLB with an outperform rating, with Savaret with a neutral rating because of the excellent performance, and 𝗔𝗏𝗃 with an outperform rating. This is the last slide showing the significant outperformance of the region. Yeah? And so your work has been reflected in the development of the stock prices. If you look at besides Slovenia and Croatia, look at Romania and Hungary, significantly outperformed Austria and even Poland. So congrats to this event, and I pass on to my colleague Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Klaus. So let me try if I'm more successful in sharing a document. I think you can see it now. Klaus, let me know if not. Perfect. So thank you very much for having me here today. What I want to show you very briefly is from a Raiffeisen Bank International's perspective, what has changed during the last year. And many of you know, I think, know about this already, that we joined this strategic alliance with Oddo BHF. What does this mean? Actually, what you see here in the middle is Oddo BHF is a corporation of European banks, where the banks forth their equity sales and equity research capabilities into one platform, and the platform is Oddo BHF. Yeah? And what you see here is in yellow is our RBI market, what we bring into the existing platform of Oddo BHF. That's the dark green, what you see here of Europe. And this gives a nice picture. I think this shows hopefully that Oddo BHF has really become a pan-European player in the equity space. Yeah? So from covering the Iberian Peninsula to Central and Eastern Europe, the whole spectrum of issuers and investors. Yeah? So this is very important. And what's the benefit? What you see on the left side, where our strength is, we can cover really the retail investors in each of the local markets, the local investors and mid-cap and regional investors, up to the large and pan-European investors. Yeah? So for issuers, this is very, I think, a very good point, that whenever you are on our platform, we can market you across Europe to different kind of investors, really pan-European investor focus, even with an access to the US. And that's the main benefit of the platform. And on the right side, you see also on the ECM, so the equity capital markets, when we do transactions on the platform, if you combine all the partner banks of Oddo BHF in the league table, by number of deals in Europe, we are quite successful. This gives you also a very good picture on how good our placement capabilities on the platform is actually. So here in the last 5 years, we are number 4 in equity transactions on the market. Let's go ahead. So who are the partner banks? Also for your benefit that you notice, we have ABN AMRO for the Benelux countries, BBVA in Spain, Commerzbank in Germany, Natixis in France, and we as a quasi new kid on the block since the beginning of 25 is RBI for Austria and Central and Eastern Europe. So far, investors have acknowledged our work. So we are, as you see in the bottom, we are voted number 1 broker in France, Benelux, Austria, number 2 in Germany. So there's quite a good investor satisfaction with our work so far. Jumping ahead, so on the sales side, so equity sales, you can see here where our, on the one hand, where our offices are, where our sales and sales traders are located, and from each of the locations, how many investors on average we cover from those locations. And in total, and I think it's a quite impressive number, we cover more than 1,000 institutional investors European-wide. So this is really an outstanding number, I would say, and should give confidence also for the issuers whenever they plan anything on the capital markets on the primary side, that there's really a very good and large investor base for any transactions to come. If you move ahead, but also our research coverage, the Oddo BHF coverage universe now has more than 800 stocks under coverage. That's a lot, I would say. What does this mean? Here we really have each and every sector on this platform. We have really sector specialists on the analyst side who can focus totally on their sector, giving really comprehensive research to our investors. So here I think we can really show sector knowledge and a broad range of countries covered. So you see here on the flags how many stocks in each of the countries are covered. What RBI brought into the platform is, of course, the Austrian coverage and the coverage in Central and Eastern Europe. And that's currently what we are building on, and this will be much more focused in the future as well. Let's go ahead. And this, I think, is already my last page. Just to visualize for you that in the end, especially for the issuers and also for the investors, we also want to bring in new transactions to the market. And alone in 25, we had 25 ECM transactions on the platform. So be it from RBI, be it from Natixis or BBVA. But in the end, whenever you are as an investor on the platform and get our investor issuer access, you should see the possibility to participate in all of these transactions. And with 25 transactions, I think we are again among the top 5 European ECM players when it comes by the number of issues. And there were IPOs in the Czech Republic, IPOs in Germany, in Spain, but also a lot of follow-on transactions and rights issues. So the whole spectrum of equity capital market transactions. Yeah, this was a short reminder what Oddo BHF stands for and what RBI's role is in this cooperation. And I thank you very much for giving me the time to show you our product once more. And whenever you have any questions to that, reach out to Klaus or to myself. We are happy to be here for you. I hope you can enjoy the conference and enjoy lovely Slovenia. Thank you.
And also many thanks from my side. And I again apologize for the technical hiccup. This is a sign that next year I have to be on site, and I will be on site, and it works for sure. Many thanks and best greetings to Ljubljana. Bye-bye.
Bye.
They are already off, but I would like to thank them for this comprehensive and insightful overview. Their perspective helps frame the opportunities ahead and supports the discussion we will engage in throughout the day. Next, we turn to one of the most dynamic markets in the region. So please welcome Mr. Alexandru Stefan, who will present key developments in the Romanian capital market. His analysis allows us to compare experiences, identify shared challenges, and better understand the forces shaping financial markets across the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here. Marco, first of all, I would like to congratulate you and your team for organizing such a well-structured event and to thank you for inviting us to participate. I would like to share with you some slides that I hope you will find interesting. I am sure that we share the same opportunities as well as challenges as the Slovenian capital market. And let's see. So we have reached a market cap of 60 billion euros this year. As you may know, we are a market that is concentrated in terms of the utilities, energy, as well as the financial sector, but we are seeing companies, private companies coming from other sectors as well. Since the start of the year, we had a very good run. It's the best performance in the last 5 years. But if we look at the region, and I know that it was a slide shared previously also by the previous team, so we have, over the last 5 years, a performance of total return performance of more than 260%. The Slovenian market, I see it's the second to the top with the 270%, and the first is the Czech Republic. Nevertheless, the region has delivered very strong performance, and I congratulate the Slovenian capital market for that. Over the last 10 years, we have seen more than 10 IPOs, only for the regulated market. More than 4 billion euros have been attracted to the market. With that, 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧, probably you've heard of it, was the largest IPO in Europe in 2023. We had an IPO also this year, Christine, with a smaller IPO, but nevertheless an important IPO of a private company. What helped us also in terms of attracting financing, is we had this government bond program, which is called Fidelis, that was offered to the population through the capital market, through the exchange. The government attracted 11 billion euros to this. This was a very positive development for the market because this attracted retail investors, and this eventually turns out for them to be more present in the capital market, which everyone needs. We had a strong performance in terms of the buy side. On the left, you have the pension funds, which have reached 38 billion euros in assets under management. We have a nice performance also in terms of the mutual funds industry, which has reached more than 6 billion euros. But a very important development there is that the number of investors is 1 million investors. This number has been reached this year. This is very important. Of course, considering the population of Romania, which is 19 million, there's still a lot of room for us to go. We're seeing positive performance in terms of the number of investors present to the market directly through brokerage. This is very important. More than 270,000 people invest with a direct retail brokerage account. Again, the potential is still here. This helped also, the government bond program has helped as well. The strong performance of the capital market has helped as well. Also, the macro environment was important, but last but not least, all the efforts that have been put in education, awareness for the population regarding the capital market benefits, these have been a driver regarding this performance, and we are expecting this to be happening also in the future. What the main challenge of the Romanian capital market is that although the market size has increased, the performance, the indices have delivered a nice performance, the market liquidity in terms of the equities is still under potential. Yeah, so we're trading close to 15 million euros a day, which is significantly smaller than our potential. The bonds market have helped. It is true. One important aspect regarding our market, we have been promoted to emerging market status by FTSE Russell in 2020. This has come after 4 years of being placed on the watch list. So this happened in 2016, and the promotion eventually happened in 2020. This has been very good for the Romanian capital market. We have seen direct inflows of more than $400 million into those companies that were included in the indices, and this eventually turned out in the multiples expansion. What we're still frontier is at MSCI. So we're still advanced frontier market, as well as Ljubljana Stock Exchange and the Slovenian capital market. And this is our most important strategic objective, to become emerging market also at MSCI. The MSCI indices are tracked by more than $1.3 trillion. So it's more than 100 times the assets under management for frontier. And we could expect inflows of more than 1 billion in case of an upgrade. But this we still need to do significant more measures for the market to become emerging market at MSCI. We need more listings. We need companies that are state-owned to increase their free floats, so for the state to make secondary sales. We need more investors, we need more retail, so definitely there's a lot that we need to do. This is my presentation. Thank you very much again, and I wish you a very productive conference.
Thank you, Mr. Stefan, for this engaging and informative presentation. Your contribution reinforces the importance of cross-country learning and the interconnected nature of our regional markets. We now move to our panel discussion on capital market development in the CEE region. This session brings together distinguished experts whose combined experience represents a wide spectrum of regional market perspectives. They will explore structural reforms, strategic priorities, and long-term ambitions driving the development of capital markets in Central and Eastern Europe. Please welcome Tomislav Pasalic, Senior Equity Sales, Oddo BHF Austria Branch, Natalia Stoshitsky, Director of Sector for Insurance and Capital Market, Ministry of Finance, Daniel Delac, CEO, Intercapital Securities Ltd, Marko Bombac, President of the Management Board, Ljubljana Stock Exchange, Alexandru Stefan, CFA, Head of Marketing, Data Sales and Product Development at Bucharest Stock Exchange, and the panel will be moderated by Andraž Aš from Ljubljana Stock Exchange.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Brief introduction. We're going to talk about how to get to the emerging market status for Slovenia. Now, before we begin, we have roughly 50 minutes available. After that, it's a small matter of Ljubljana Stock Exchange awards, but the main event is obviously the lunch, and we wouldn't want to eat into that, no pun intended. So we want to remain on point, but I've come across a post on LinkedIn roughly a week ago. It said that most panels can be boring. They talk about financial literacy and so on. Everybody has pre-prepared what they want to talk about and so on. And obviously, everybody in the attendance goes. Incidentally, it was written by Mr. Ďeľač, so I hope, I really agree with what he said. So any discussion, any interaction is most welcome. And I want to start with Mr. Pašalić. You obviously have a lot of perspective from your side. How does an emerging market look like? What does a developed market look like compared to frontier market or maybe even standalone? You operate in many markets. So I'm really interested in your perspective. And obviously on the second part, perspective of your clients. How clients, investors see the difference, what's easier for them, what attracts them.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's my pleasure being here. Thank you for the question. You said not to be boring, so we can make it rather short and brief and say what's the main trigger that is missing, or we start with the classification matrix. I will spend a little more time just to keep you awake a little bit more and longer. So the matrix is very simple. You developed markets usually tend to have a higher rate of industrialization, a higher GDP per capita, higher education levels, accessibility to the capital markets, it's easier, it's faster, less volatility in the local currencies, younger population maybe in some frontier markets, emerging markets in general, bigger growth. So this would be a very, very rough overview of the classification matrix. But what's the most important trigger, and I think it was already mentioned several times before, is the liquidity. That makes the difference, and that's all about that. And we have some tools to improve that, all of us here in the room. So from the stock exchange, from the regulator, from the brokers, from the asset managers, from the corporates that I see here in front of me. So there are some tools which we can outline, and coming down specifically to Slovenia, in the eyes of my clients, Slovenia is actually a developed country. Just the liquidity is the issue, and that makes the difference why it's still in the frontier market category. So it's a developed country. It has been there I'm in the industry for more than 20 years. So Slovenia was always outshining somehow in terms of macro, of stable political environment, framework. The legal framework was intact. High education, high GDP per capita, everything is there.
Except the liquidity.
Except the liquidity. And the colleague from Romania before mentioned already in case what Romania has done. And because of that liquidity that was significantly increased in Romania with the 𝗪𝗔𝗪𝗔𝗪 IPO, you were able to attract some foreign investors or additional investors. So I always like to say that when I started in 2006 doing this, we had 2 hands full of foreign dedicated investors, Nowadays, I would say we have 5, to be very honest. That would be it. Actually, we should spend more time on actually the capital market communication improved a lot over the last 20 years, and it's really high, on a high level. It's not that we can do much more from that point of view. The pitching can be, maybe a little bit more interesting and try to tell the story a little bit sexier than just saying, our margins were lifted by 2% or whatever. Make it a little bit more creative to sell the story even better to asset managers. And the liquidity is the crucial factor why asset managers, mainly, we are today living in an era of passive investing mainly, So I don't know, I think, I'm not sure if I will tell you now the right data, but it seems to me that it's 2/3 of the ATX in Austria is owned by passive foreign investors. And these like to invest in frontier markets because of, which is not the case in Slovenia, actually, what I mentioned to me, Slovenia is a developed market because you have very high accessibility to the market, so no restraints from capital inflows, outflows. You have great companies, with solid balance sheets, operating export-oriented, operating in very dynamic markets. So a lot is there, but the liquidity is still missing.
Okay, thanks a lot. So liquidity. And Romania was mentioned. How does the path, you obviously said something about this already, Mr. Stefan, how does this path look like to the emerging market for Romania? Obviously, one of the big index providers, FTSE, classifies Romania as secondary emerging, but this probably doesn't just happen overnight. Oh, one day you're frontier, next morning you wake up, oh, we're emerging. How does this look like? It's a multi-year project, or do you follow specific KPIs, and it's probably not just like a project of one person, one company, one institution? How does it look like?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in terms of the FTSE Russell story, this was a project that started in 2013. So the Bucharest Stock Exchange, as well as the whole capital market, the regulator as well, had to work on some market accessibility issues. Since 2013, this was a very important project for the exchange. And it eventually ended up in 2016 that FTSE Russell placed us on the watch list. And we had expectations that, okay, the promotion will happen in a year and afterwards after 2 years. But we ended up being promoted after significant other efforts and measures only in 2020, so after 4 years. So it was a long road. And
7 years in total.
Yeah. What helped us in terms of the FTSE Russell, apart from the measures that the whole capital market have taken. So the Bucharest Stock Exchange, the CSD, the Romanian ASF, Financial Supervisory Authority. Apart from this, what helped us increase the liquidity is the issuer market maker program, which has helped.
What market maker?
Issuer market maker.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's a program in which all the issuers listed can access the services of a market maker directly in a direct business relationship with the market maker. Yeah, because this is what you need. You need smaller bid-ask spreads. You need some liquidity providers. Yeah.
One very successful market maker is sitting next to you.
Yeah, I know. He's a market maker in Romania as well.
But not as successful as locally.
So did I answer your question? So
pretty much. I'm going to come back to you, but since Mr. Delic already got involved, so in practice, what does the gap for Slovenia look like? Mr. Pašalić said before liquidity, and the last time I researched, which was at the beginning of this year, it was like gap was pretty sizable in terms of market cap and obviously the liquidity. Regarding market quality, economic development, everything else, like we pretty much fit the bill, not for emerging, maybe even for developed. But I heard liquidity, how big is the gap?
Well, as you said, I mean, MSCI, which is the biggest index provider globally, and most funds use this as a benchmark, has two types of criteria, qualitative and quantitative. As you said correctly, qualitative it's not an issue. I mean, Slovenia is part of EU, open economy, no capital restrictions, so everything is in place. But when we go over the quantitative criteria, there the story kind of gets a bit depressing. So in order to be eligible to become emerging market by MSCI, there are three types of criteria. Two of them are linked to size of the companies and its free floats. There, Slovenia even is in nice shape because it has two big blue chips with significant free float. But when we look at the liquidity factor, basically both Krka and NLB would need to trade more than 100% more than they do trade at the moment to even be eligible for emerging market status. Plus, there would need to be at least one more company in the same size and liquidity. And then you become eligible for a short list. You do not automatically qualify. So as we heard, colleagues from Romania are trying to do the same. Baltic countries are trying to do the same. A lot of countries globally are trying to do the same. Everybody's chasing those 1.5 trillion asset under management, which Alexandru showed, compared to 150 times less compared to funds which are tracking frontier markets. So this is the global story. You can't kind of do it overnight. It takes 10 plus years minimum.
Okay, one said 7, one said 10. Wonder what we're gonna hear more. So basically, we have two companies that are big enough, but they're not traded enough, and we still need the third one. And this one obviously has to be traded more as well, right? So going local, Marko, how do we get there? What stakeholders we have to focus on? How do we encourage them to do their thing? Obviously, investors, issuers, government.
What to add on top of what already Tomislav and Daniel said? I agree completely that liquidity is the key issue. How to change that? First, I think we need to grow domestic demand in general, domestic, retail and institutional, and foreign demand. In terms of retail demand, it was already said at the beginning that Slovenian households, actually in general, hold a big share of their savings in banking deposits, but with retail bonds and with individual investment accounts, we're finally slowly addressing that and actually mobilizing retail investors. Second thing, we need to grow number of instruments in the market. We need new IPOs. Also, ETFs were mentioned. We need more ETFs. New quality listings would immediately spark broader interest for the market, including what I was telling before, foreign institutional investors, because now they're looking for opportunities in other markets. This would bring capital to our local market, which would be positive for liquidity. And third thing, which I think it's important, is to have credible cornerstone domestic investors, which can support IPOs at or after the listing happens. As you know, we had recently a pension reform, and unfortunately, we didn't use that moment to change that by not including automatic enrollment into second and third pillar. But nevertheless, we need to look for every place where we can find liquidity, because liquidity builds liquidity, and it's a positive feedback loop. And with increasing liquidity, we can start also thinking about new products, be it, for example, basic derivatives, structured products, inverse leveraged ETFs. Of course, these products are not for all the investors, but they're very important to experienced investors, and they can have sizable impact on the whole market in terms of turnover, in terms of liquidity, even tighten the bid-ask spread, which was mentioned by Alexandru, and also have a positive impact by lowering the cost of capital for the issuers.
Marcus said liquidity brings liquidity. Obviously, we need new issuers. One more is missing, and I'm going to briefly go back to our Romanian colleague, Hidroelectrica. That really kick-started also the liquidity, yes. Not only the market cap in Romania, right?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Hidroelectrica case that was listed not only impacted, obviously, the market cap, but it brought new liquidity to the whole Romanian system, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the whole IPO was close to 2 billion euros. Yeah. following its listing, we saw records in secondary market liquidity. Records for days, weeks, some months, yeah, but eventually the free float of Hidroelectrica, some part of it at least, yeah, has been put to shelves, yeah, by the big institutional investors that have a very long-term investment horizon. Yeah, so the pension funds, for example, they hold an important stake of the Hidroelectrica free float. Yeah, so the market needs more free float now, yeah, in order for that liquidity to come back again. Yeah, that to increase liquidity. I would like to agree with Marco. We need more companies listed. We need to increase in free float, yeah, because that brings new investors, which in the case of Hidroelectrica, we saw that happening. Yeah.
So not only targeted liquidity itself, but even market cap, free float brings everything together. So I'm going to go to Ms. 𝗘𝗘𝗃 from Ministry of Finance. Now it's been a few years since a new strategy was adopted in Slovenia and has that overarching goal of, okay, we're going to attain emerging market status. In those roughly 3 years, what went right, what maybe goes in the wrong direction, and where we didn't move at all, but we should? How does this look like from your perspective?
Okay, maybe just to put this into the context of the liquidity issues and others, what should move on the capital markets. We are just regulators, right? We could do a lot, but you could not act as a market participant. So there's a lot to be done also by the market participants.
Yeah. You're welcome to say what we should do. Not only for you. How does this look from the government perspective? What everybody here is doing wrong?
But for sure we did something, and in these 2 years and 8 months, let's say, I think it's been done a lot. What to say, and we are proud of that market capitalization growth from 13% up to 25% of GDP from 2022 to July 2025, and also the liquidity growth within these last 2 years growth is around 53%. So we are really proud about that. One of the goals of the capital market development strategy was, to move to the emerging market segment, and we are on half path of that by being recognized or by the Morgan Stanley Capital Investments to be put in the new category of advanced frontier market, where we have 20% weight. But still there's a lot going on, and the question was, we have now 2 companies in frontier market index, Ljubljana banka in 10th place and 𝗪𝗪𝗃 in the 2nd place. I think that we could expect new ones as well to join it. I know that Petrol is now on the 2 billion market capitalization, is very near. So we are optimistic about that. And in respect of the liquidity, there's always, of course, need to be built by demand side and as well as supply side. So this individual investment accounts, we believe, will add to that. So to move a little bit the investments of the private physical persons to a little bit to the capital market instruments. But we also see a lot of other opportunities. So one for sure is, the demand of the private equity funds pushing IPOs through the capital market. We see now that this percentage is very low at the moment. But it is low because about the liquidity, that's one reason. And the other is, of course, because in Slovenia we only started with the private equity, let's say, program CGIP by the SID Banka at the end of 2019, and now it shows first results. So you could see, that the alternative investment fund segment grow within from 2020 up until now by 125%. And first exits was just, started, and most of them were not for IPOs. And we would like to see some IPOs as well from that part.
How can we do this? How could we force those venture capitalists?
You could not force it, but we could look at why they didn't do it and how to do it, and how to. For sure, one of the things are costs, so the other is the pricing and the liquidity. So there is still room for that. The other thing is, I think that still a room for improvement is from offering corporate bonds and government public bonds, so retail bonds. We did it. We issued, as a Minister of Finance, the 500 million retail government bonds. That goes well. The result was open more than 2,000 new trading accounts. 6,000 physical persons entered the market and invested, but there's still room. So I think that there will be another issues about that, new issues. What went wrong, where we were really disappointed was with the reform of the pension fund to second pillar, which still we didn't do it because the negotiations were social partners were not didn't went on that direction, and of course we compare this with the Croatian, where you have really very good inflow of cash through the financial social capital market instruments by the pension funds. We did miss this opportunity. But I'm an optimist. I believe that there is still room to do that. Now, just the European Commission pushed the first pension package with the recommendations how to stimulate the second pillar, and we will do it in that direction. And the other thing, I think I have to mention also tax incentives and other financial instruments that could take part of the risk from the investors. So, in respect of taxation, we did it already in the Corporate Tax Act, where we put the 0% tax for the alternative investment funds that distribute 75% of their income. So this will be a push for the alternative investment funds to invest further and to distribute income. And the second one, what we wish to do it in the future, and we have the discussions, I'm not promising anything, but I think that there is a possibility for how to push institutional investors more, in particular domestic institutional investors, more to invest into such an asset class.
Probably mutual funds, right?
Yeah. So about the tax incentives in this sense. But what is still missing, I think, is still missing the financial instruments that will cover part of the risk of the financial institutional investors. And you might not know, but European Investment Bank, an investment fund, did perform the equity guarantee schemes from InvestEU, where these guarantee schemes cover 50% of the risk of investments into the equity. Slovenia didn't take that opportunity, didn't use this guarantee, but it could release the capital, that is required by the solvency or by the Basel, to cover the exposures of investments into the equity.
So a lot to cover. And I'm going to have Mr. Delac adjudicate this immediately, how successful we are. So obviously, we have individual savings accounts. We had a few retail sovereign bonds. We're pushing on the venture capital firms to release companies via the IPO. How will this move the needle? How close are we getting? What are we still missing?
Well, we already mentioned that the main thing, the need for big companies with a lot of liquidity. So, in my view, what's missing, local investors, both the pension funds and the retail investors, because international investors are kind of superficial. I mean, they just look at the headline numbers, the liquidity. I mean, if it's not there, they move to the next market, I don't know, Romania, Vietnam, or whatever. So local liquidity needs to be created, local demand needs to be created, and then big institutional investors from abroad will have Slovenia on their radar.
So obviously you're from Croatia, which, as mentioned, We didn't get the pension reform we maybe wanted, but in Croatia, a very ambitious like pension reform has been in place for like, what, 10 years now, and it's really showing results, right?
20
and this creates those local institutional investors, and this liquidity attracts international ones as well, right? That's the case in Croatia?
I mean, it's funny. Croatian pension funds are more interested in Slovenian companies than Croatian companies, at least at the moment. There are two reasons. One, the biggest two, but even the few other blue chips on Ljubljana Stock Exchange are really nice companies, fairly big companies, fairly liquid for our terms. And it makes sense to kind of have them on their radar. They're pretty pragmatic about it, and I totally understand their position.
Okay. So we should improve our pension system to increase liquidity in Croatia?
You have better companies. I don't
That's
want
good
to
to
offend Croatian companies sitting here, but we do not have as sizable companies and as liquid companies as Krka and NLB are at the moment. That's a fact.
It's good to hear, but we'll steer a bit off. Mark, I'm going to turn to you. Obviously, we discussed this a bit before. Like, we researched what capital markets around the world are maybe moving into the right direction. And every country that Marko came up is a stand. So it's really like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, that's the countries, that's the capital markets that we should look at?
I mean, if I go a little bit back, what Natalia also said, first of all, I really think that we need to focus on what we can do by ourselves. I think a lot is being done, but more can and must be done, that's for sure. But the trend is positive, yet we're not where we want to be, right? But we have a clear path and we need to follow that path. Outside, what is maybe outside of our remit, where we could look for other measures, like first I need to come back also to the IPOs. We know the valuations improved, there is more capital on the market available. So I'm optimistic that in the next couple of years we'll see more IPOs compared to the last few years. So that's a positive. But one true game changers in terms of IPO, in my opinion, would be tax incentives for first-time listings. This would be very positive because at the end, if you think owners of private companies, they're rational beings, and they will see if it's beneficial for them, they will think about it, and with higher valuation, and if you give them additional incentives, it's of course more interesting. I'm
going to stop you right here, because behind your back, Ministry of Finance is very interested into tax incentive, right?
Not only for tax incentives. I can just agree with Mark on this, but you know, as physical personnel from the ministry side, you know, I'm not from the tax department, but yeah, for the capital market for sure. No, what I try to add is about the IPOs. I mean, there are several measures that could be done, and I agree we have to do some work all together here. Is also not only tax incentives, but you know, there's a lot of other measures that is also possible. For example, one of the ideas, and it's not just an idea, it's a very concrete measure already in preparation, not by the ministry, but by the other financial institution. And it's already doing well in other EU countries, is the IPO fund. So that there will be, you know, co-investment into the IPOs alongside with the private investors, together with this IPO fund, and it would be, it could be part of the CEE program by SID Banka. You know, it could be. I know that also the Croatian colleagues are very interested in such a fund to go together along in partnership in such a type of fund. The other, it's for more, not much more for relevant for this companies that are already in growth phase, but more on the startups are, the co-funding fund with the business angels. So these are two initiatives now on the table as well, and I think that both could add on the further development of the capital markets, private and public.
Yes, obviously, this public fund would need a lot of money. Can we put this money together?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Marco, going back to the stance.
Yeah. So, what was the question again?
No, I mentioned previously that what countries are you looking up to?
Capital markets is a hot topic in many countries currently. For example, it's not just Romania. Also our friends, colleagues from Croatia, they have an ambitious strategy. Then in Poland, we see they're introducing individual investments accounts or tax advantage accounts. But then, as you mentioned, right, also outside of Europe, for example, Kazakhstan example, shows that one or two flagship IPOs with dedicated tranche for retail investors can really mobilize the capital and lift liquidity. And then we have also Uzbekistan, 10 times lower GDP per capita compared to Slovenia. They're also introducing individual investment accounts. But one thing that stands out, it's the privatization pipeline that they have by their new national investment fund that is being managed, that is about to be managed by Franklin Templeton, similar to Romanian experience. So when I look what's outside of our remit and what could be done to make a fast change, I see two things here. First, it's what I already mentioned, like tax incentives for new listings. And the second one, it's a list with a specific timeline about privatization plans. I'm not implying here that everything needs to be privatized, but if there is something to be privatized or what is going to be privatized, it would be good to be listed and with a specific timeline, because it's easier. It's positive for investors because they can plan for that, and it gives credibility to the market. But what I would like also to mention, for example, we've done a lot, I would say, in the last 2 years, but we see all the countries are moving in that direction, right? So we cannot be just satisfied with what we have done. We cannot sit idle. We need to keep executing, to keep working on that.
So in case of Romania, maybe hydroelectrica, was that the only thing that moved the needle? Because we heard a lot what we're doing in Slovenia. Okay, individual accounts. We're thinking about tax incentives, new bond listings that brought a lot of investors. We were improving corporate governance and so on. Is this similar to Romania? What else happened?
Yeah, so not only hydroelectrica. The increase in number of investors, we're seeing increase in direct retail brokerage accounts as well as investors in the mutual funds industry. Came also following years of financial education, market awareness that all actors of the Romanian capital markets have done. Also, is a natural event that the increase of participation of the population to the capital market is very natural, because they need to diversify their savings and how they make economies, right? Also, there were other IPOs following hydroelectrica and previous to hydroelectrica as well. Romanian private companies, successful entrepreneurial stories that got listed to the market and attracted new retail. Yeah, so multiple initiatives as well. I'd like to congratulate you for the savings and investment account. There is something that we are working with the Ministry of Finance in Romania as well. That's a very nice initiative that is currently missing in the Romanian investment landscape. Yeah, we have private pension plans, both mandatory as well as optional, but we are missing this savings and investment account, and we're hoping that will happen very soon.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Right, Natalia? Individual accounts, they don't have them in Romania, so we are one step ahead, right?
Yeah, we are. I think that there will be certainly some improvements also here when we will have an experience of, how to do it and to see, how this will be accepted by the public. But I think that there's still some improvement. But I agree, we are ahead. But maybe I just would like to comment also about the privatization as a tool for increasing the liquidity in the capital market. I think that we passed the first phase of large privatization in Slovenia in 1990, and we see, of course, the increase of the liquidity in the offering and supply in the market, which was fine, but you have to, as a government, you have to, look at what would be the main goal of the privatization. It should not be the liquidity in the capital market. So I would not agree on this discussion about, putting in emphasis on the privatization, just, in this sense, but of course, there are other priorities for the government when they decide whether to privatize something or not. And it should have taken into consideration, for of course, public service and the efficiency of public service and the continuity of it. Maybe just for the comment.
Yeah, sure. So prices have increased a lot, but still not enough for the government in Slovenia. No, I understand. Everything has to be put into context. Still, what do you maybe see, Mr. 𝗬𝗃𝗃, moving like 3 years forward? And we have an ideal situation. What measures can we take in 3 years, maybe? What can we do, given the situation in Slovenia? Obviously, privatization, we really hope something happens, but I know it's a thorny issue, political, social-wise. What can we do?
I think there are several different things, not only the measures that directly impact the capital market, but also indirectly. There are a lot of possible incentives. I mentioned a few that goes for the alternative investment fund investments. The other one is probably, supporting IPOs. And for this, I mean not only by, co-financing it, but also for financial literacy for the particular mid-sized companies, and to subsidize part of the costs of IPOs. And we have now in progress one of such programs. And the national budget 2026-27 will support it with the national budget funding to co-finance part of the costs of the issuers to go to the market and to do the IPO. Of course, tax incentives are the ones that could be the strongest tool as well, of course, but we have to look at that because, as I mentioned, the national budget was already passed through the parliament, and I'm not sure whether there will be opened before 2027. So we have to move a little bit more push on the pension fund reform again, I think.
So not to eat too much into lunch, but still I'm going to ask maybe Marko, Natalia, and Mr. Delac one question, one prediction. Individual savings account. How many are we going to see 5 years from now? They've been mentioned a lot.
We already spoke publicly about that, so it's, of course, the opinions also inside the company are very different. But let's say between 300 and 400,000.
I agree. Natalia?
I agree.
Mr. Delac, are we too pessimistic?
I can't not agree.
Okay. And I'm going to go back to Mr. Pasalic. So what's everybody here missed? What are we maybe still missing from the perspective of, I don't know, developed markets, not emerging? What are we doing wrong? What are we not doing?
So at the very beginning, you want to have an interesting discussion, so please allow me to be a little bit contrarian. Everybody was speaking about the pension funds, and this is a game changer. I don't agree. It's to some extent, in case of IPOs, yes, they have a significant demand, but they do not behave as market participants when they once entered the corporates, listed stocks, So they hold these stocks like bonds, you know.
Yeah.
You have NLB, it's actually an income-generating bond on Slovenia. So theoretically, for foreign investors, I'm looking at you, Peter, because you're sitting in front of me. This is the way they look, you know. We have some equity upside, but actually it's behaving like a bond with the dividend appreciated very much, don't get me wrong. But if you want to be a participant on the market, you need to be somehow active as well, you know. Just buying when the IPO happened and forget about the stock doesn't increase liquidity, which is our major focus, honestly. So we have the toolbox in place. We mentioned several times what's needed. We have the market makers. They improved slightly the situation. We have the sponsored research, definitely a good tool to increase awareness, market awareness of the foreign investors. We have the legal framework and the political initiative, which is very welcome. Yeah. And we have also the idea of consolidation the markets. We consolidated on the broker side. Asset managers consolidated. So I think the consolidation, the planned consolidation of the stock exchanges or this initiative is a very welcome step into the right direction, honestly. So nowadays you have mid-sized asset managers in UK. They need a daily turnover. The threshold is €2 million. Focusing on emerging market. In one stock.
Yeah.
In one stock. Yeah. So hopefully we are all sitting in the same boat, and we have to really put a lot of efforts to make this happen, to increase the liquidity. I'm just the main focus, and again we cannot. The IPOs will help definitely, but you don't have too many large IPOs. Look, Romania, hydroelectric I have the ones, and maybe the next 5 to 10 years you will have smaller ones, sizable, but not of that size, you know, to attract really foreign capital. A good idea, maybe, I guess everybody is aware of that, is to start in Slovenia with small tranches of the state ownership, you know, just to test the market and see and continuously increase the appetite and the liquidity. So it goes hand in hand.
Privatization. Awesome. So we're running on time, but still a short prediction for everybody. We've heard before, 7 years from the start of planning to emerging market, 10 years after it's a 10-year project. How will this look in Slovenia? Everybody, maybe start from this side. When will Slovenia, by MSCI, be considered an emerging market, if ever?
But look, you have the metrics. You have three major criteria points: relevant market cap of the free float, market cap of the companies, and the traded turnover versus GDP needs to be 15%, if I have it right in mind. So this is on the table. How to increase this? I think we several times have outlined the critical points, and everybody of us should try to achieve this. To be very precise, within the next 10 years, I don't see this happen.
Okay. Marco, do you?
Should it be realistic or optimistic?
I've never seen you optimistic.
If I'm realistic, I would say between 30, 33 to 40, 45. If I'm optimistic, then maybe a year or two before.
Okay, that's going to be very hard. Okay. Natalia.
Well, the government accepted the strategy for market development, and it says in the strategy 2030. So I could not say it differently. Okay. This is our goal, right?
It has to be. Mr. Delac.
Look, I mean, all of us try to explain and picture that it's not an easy process. I mean, I'll try to be graphic. I mean, one woman needs 9 months to give birth to a baby. to women cannot do it in 4.5 months. So basically, you can't rush this, you can't force this. If I need to put timeline on it, the late 2030s maybe. I hope to see BlackRock Emerging Market Fund buying Slovenian names like crazy before I retire.
We're not making predictions about our market in terms of MSCI, so I'm not going to make a prediction about the Slovenian capital market. Nevertheless, if you manage to have the size and the liquidity, I wish you all the best and hope this will happen as close to 2030 as possible.
We all hope as well. So thank you, everybody. One last question. Mr. Delac, we heard how far are we from the emerging market status, but how far are we from having a good panel?
It was a solid panel, I would say.
Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now arrive to the highlight of our program, the Ljubljana Stock Exchange Awards Ceremony 20 and 25. These awards celebrate outstanding performance, innovation, transparency, and contributions to the development of the Slovenian capital market. All awards will be given by Mr. Marko Bombač, President of the Management Board of the Ljubljana Stock Exchange. We are pleased to note that in many categories the results were remarkably close. If we could, we would divide the cake into dozens of slices to honor every impressive achievement. But tonight, only 8 large pieces are available, and they go to the very best. Mr. Marko, will you join me? So, to begin, we present the Member of the Year for the Bond Market Award, a new category and the first award of its kind. This award recognizes excellence in the bond market segment. In 2023, turnover in fixed income instruments was below 10 million euros. In 2024, it more than doubled, reaching almost 20 million euros. And in the first 10 months of this year, turnover has already climbed to nearly 27 million euros. The second sovereign retail bond even became the 4th most traded instrument in the second quarter. Such progress would not have been possible, among other factors, without strong market-making services across many instruments in this segment. The Member of the Year Bond Market Award goes to OTP Banka d.d. Congratulations. Še fotografijo, a boste sam počakali?
Samo par besed, pa bom kar v angleščini. Many thanks to Ljubljana Stock Exchange for this award. Actually, I'm taking award, but it goes to my team in 6 rounds, so 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and his team and the whole global financial market. We have worked the last 3 years very hardly to get some improvements, to improve liquidity on this important segment, and we are very happy to contribute to Slovenian capital markets, and we will put all efforts to continue. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. As we continue, we move to the Member of the Year award. This recognition is based, among other criteria, on trading, turnover, and fulfillment of market maker obligations, with additional consideration given to research, promotional activities, and participation in stock exchange initiatives. The Member of the Year award goes for the 7th time in a row to Intercapital Securities.
Good day to all. Obviously, I have to start with a brief disclaimer. I still cannot speak Slovenian, so I'll be speaking in English. Last year, my colleague Denis held the speech in Slovenian, but sadly he's in Japan now, so maybe next year he holds it in Japanese. Thanks for this beautiful award. It's highly appreciated. It's 7th time in a row, but every time feels like first time. What to say about 225 on Ljubljana Stock Exchange? I mean, business was booming. Blue chips had a fantastic year. The index had a fantastic year, and we're just glad to be able to be part of it. What's missing? We already mentioned several times: new investors, new listings. I'm sure that there are a lot of quality companies in Slovenia which belong to the stock exchange and would be a worthy addition to this stock exchange. So hopefully a year or two from now we'll be able to congratulate some of them for taking this leap of faith. Before I finish, let me just congratulate to all the nominees and award winners. And to all of you in the audience, I wish happy holidays and a successful 2026. Thanks.
Next, we turn to the second new category introduced this year, one that highlights strong market momentum. The award for the largest stock market movement reflects good performance in total return and an exceptional increase in trading volume and number of transactions. The award for the largest stock market movement goes to Triglav Group. Thank you. Next, we present the Standard Market Share of the Year award. The company receiving the award acquired a market maker on 1st of July and performed a stock split before that. This resulted in an extraordinary trading turnover increase, which in this year's third quarter amounted to 2.7 million euros, or approximately 2 million euros more compared to the previous quarter. They were also included on the waiting list for the SBI Top Index. The Standard Market Share of the Year award goes to Salos Ljubljana d.d.
Colleagues, it's nice to be on the stage again, although personally I think I'll never get used to the spotlights. But seriously, it's a great honor to receive this award the second time in a row, but it's also a little bit of pressure, since now we have no excuse not to perform even better next year. Huge thanks goes to our shareholders for their faith and their trust, and to our employees for making it happen every single day. Last but not least, a special thanks also to the Stock Exchange for recognizing our efforts. We promise that we'll keep aiming high, working hard, and keeping the stock charts rising. Thank you very much.
We now proceed with the SI Enter Share of the Year award. This year's recipient is a regular winner of this award, a company with nearly 500 shareholders and a market capitalization exceeding 100 million euros. We would be pleased to welcome the company into a higher segment of the SI Enter market in the future, further enhancing value for its shareholders. The SI Enter Share of the Year award goes to Delavska hranilnica d.d. Ljubljana.
you very much. I'll be very short, like liquidity in the CEE market. So this is our fourth award in CEE, and we see that confirmation is good, and we see it also as motivation to keep improving and to gathering new value. Thank you.
As the Slovenian market continues to evolve, it is important to recognize long-term, meaningful contributions to its development. The next distinction is the award for the largest contribution to the development of the Slovenian capital market, the third new category introduced this year. This award honors individuals or institutions whose expertise, public engagement, and sustained efforts have significantly advanced the market. Many would genuinely deserve to receive this recognition, but only one stands out. After nearly 2 decades with little momentum in policy support, the past 2 years have brought a remarkable shift. This nominee stands out for advancing retail bonds and introducing individual savings accounts. The award for the largest contribution to the development of the Slovenian capital market goes to the Ministry of Finance.
It is a great pleasure to be here today. Not many times the Ministry of Finance gets an award. So on the behalf of the Ministry of Finance, I would like to thank you for recognizing all our work, our efforts towards the development of Slovenian capital market. Special thanks goes to my colleagues at the Ministry, especially to the Financial Sector Directorate, who worked very hard, and also it's their hard work that gets this award for us. I hope that in future we will also have great cooperation with the Ministry of Finance. We believe that until now it was very fruitful, so I wish you all the best. And thank you for this award and for recognizing what we have done. Thank you.
We now continue with the award for Best Investor Relations. This award honors outstanding issuer transparency, timely reporting, ESG performance, and active engagement with the investment community. It is based on both statistical criteria and a survey among key market participants. This year's recipient is a dividend aristocrat and a company that has been synonymous with health for more than 70 years. The award for Best Investor Relations goes to 𝗘𝗘𝗃 Novo Mesto.
Good afternoon. We in 𝗘𝗘𝗃 are extremely proud to be recognized once again for Best Investor Relations. These awards and achievements are a result of our strong determination towards transparency with regard to informing and reporting, and also creating value to 47,000 shareholders and also future investors. And thank you to Ljubljana Stock Exchange for promoting best practices in the Slovenian capital market. Thank you.
Last but not least, we come to the Prime Market Share of the Year award. This year's winner is the third most traded stock over the past year. It is also the largest insurance group in the Adria region. The Prime Market Share of the Year award goes to Skupina Triglav.
Good afternoon. I didn't forget to speak earlier, just didn't want to come up twice. Thank you very much, Ljubljana Stock Exchange, for the both awards, of course. We are extremely honored that our share has been awarded with the biggest movement and, of course, with the Prime Market Share of the Year award. This year, we have reached 1.3 billion market cap. We more than doubled the liquidity of our shares, or you more than doubled the liquidity of our shares, of course. So we take it really as a recognition, clear sign that you investors support our strategy, that you believe in our strategic ambitions, and of course we are very, very happy about it. So thank you very much for this. And special thanks, of course, to all my colleagues who continue to make this happen. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in congratulating all of this year's award recipients. Give them once again one big applause. Their achievements set benchmarks of excellence, strengthen our market, and highlight the dedication of our financial community to continuous progress. On behalf of the Ljubljana Stock Exchange, thank you for your participation and support. We wish you a productive continuation of the conference and a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.